So today I want to talk about 8 by Samer Rabadi. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. My name is Abby Goldsmith. I am a big-time reader and author. So I've been reading a lot of indie authors, litrpg, and that sort of thing lately. And 8 by Samer Rabadi, it has about 4 books out so far. I just finished reading book 4. Now, I'll say I'm definitely loving this series. It's very, very unique. One of the cool things about it is that it has kind of like an Aztec, Mayan kind of vibe to it. He brings a lot of elements, like there's pyramids, there's these giant creatures. So it's hard to talk about books like this without giving major spoilers because they're series. But he's an old man who gets killed, and then he gets isekai'd into a different world. Isekai being reborn, kind of like Portal Fantasy. So he's reborn into the body of an 8-year-old, and he's given like absolutely nothing. No powers, no weapons. He doesn't speak the language of the world, and he doesn't know what's going on, basically. So one of the fun things about isekai like this is that the reader discovers it all along with the main character. There's lots of dangers. Now, one of the coolest things about this world is the animals of the world have powers just like the people do, and so it's kind of a primeval kind of vibe where travel is very difficult. Animals can eat you, so it doesn't matter how well you train, how good you are with a spear. Even if you had guns, these animals can shoot lightning. They can do, some of them have like human level intelligence. They don't talk, but some of them can fly. I mean, there's dragons, of course. Spirits of the land, which are kind of like animal spirits that used to be human. They get transformed into some kind of an animal, and they have guardianship over an area of land. And people worship them as deities, as kind of like minor deities. These spirits of the land have powers, and the main character becomes kind of, I would say friends at first with a spirit of the land who's an otter. And she doesn't speak, she just kind of does sign language with her flippers. But she's got some powers, she helps him out. And it's just a very strange relationship. You have this kind of like protective mothering kind of otter. And she starts to teach him about this world. The entire first book of this series is mostly just 8, who's an 8-year-old, an old man in the body of an 8-year-old, using the survival skills he remembers from his old world where he was a film videographer and a hunter. And so he has enough survival skills to kind of get around to survive, just barely, in this world. I was kind of intrigued just because of the strangeness of this series. And it was the end of the first book that really hooked me, where he encounters, I don't want to give a lot of spoilers, but basically he encounters a new life form that's very alien. And the way he learns to communicate with it was just really intriguing. And that continues into the next book. And so he becomes more and more part of this world. He becomes part of the local politics of the different cities. And of course, it's power progression, so he is advancing in power bit by bit throughout the series. The reason I love this series is because it's so unique. The power system is not what you typically see in litrpg. The old Mayan and Inca flair that it has going on is just very compelling to me. We have kind of like raven-headed people and just very strange things. Like there's definitely a Mayan pyramid thing, spirit motif, where some people can see spirits and put them to rest. There's a well thought out system of like life and death. And overall, there's a great impression that this is a huge world with all kinds of cultures in it, and he's only seeing one little sliver, one little corner of this strange world. And it makes the reader want to explore it along with the character. Now, having just finished book 4, I will say I did feel like book 4 moved a little more slowly than the first 3 books. There was a really cool ending to it. Some things I did not see coming. And I will probably pick up the next book, but as with many ongoing series where the authors are writing them as an ongoing thing, sometimes they tend to like lose their way a little and meander. So I'm still curious to see where it's going, but I've got to recommend this just in terms, if you're looking for unique world building and unique power system, this is the one. This is great. It's beautiful. There are also aspects of this that involve kind of a hive mind or mind readers, which is something I also write, so I'm drawn to that. But this is one where it's well done, so I have to recommend it for that reason. The author also gives the impression of being very close to nature, sort of in the same way Lord of the Rings Tolkien does, where like you really do feel like you're in the forest. This author is good at that. So it's kind of a Mayan jungle. There's all kinds of very strange. It's almost like the TV show Lost, where you don't know what's coming out next in this forest. It's not necessarily jaguars. It's, kind of dragons and things like that. Very strange beasts, musk ox, giant bears. You don't know what's coming out next. And because it's a world where the animals are that dangerous, travel is extremely expensive and it's extremely dangerous. So cities and polities and that sort of thing are not in communication the way they are in our modern world. Even though people have powers, it's a very rare person, only somebody at a very high level could even begin to travel to another continent or something like that. Sea monsters will just eat you otherwise. There's also kind of a gentleness to the series. The main character is not kind of brash and angry and against authority the way like He Who Fights with Monsters, Jason Asano. He's not like that. He's actually very respectful to deities, to authority. He's respectful of the land, the forest, its denizens. And that's actually kind of nice. It's refreshing. It's kind of a different outlook, as opposed to a lot of what you see in power progression fantasy, where the character is kind of disrespectful and just does his own thing. So it's just a different vibe and a different flavor of lit RPG, and I highly recommend it.